Hey, and welcome, msKIRAspeaks. Before we get started, I ask that you watch the videos till the end, subscribe, and turn on your notifications. We are back again for another episode of Bel-Air, Season 1, Episode 4, Canvas. Listen, Jeffrey ain't nothing to play with, y'all, but we're going to get into that later in the episode. So as our episode opens, we see Carlton and Uncle Phil. They're playing a game of chess. As they play, Carlton is victorious. But Uncle Phil has to go. He's got to get ready for the campaign events the next day. Carlton and Will are going to get folks registered to vote. But you know, Carlton is already trying to get out of it. Uncle Phil, he's not trying to hear it. So Carlton's like, okay, let's make a deal. If he and Will register 30 voters, no drama, he gets VIP seats to the Grand Prix Monaco. 50 voters, Uncle Phil says. Carlton agrees, and Uncle Phil says, you should have counted with 40. So at school, Will, he rolls up on Lisa. He needs help with his art history elective. Aunt Viv talked him into it, but Will, he's a little out of his element. He doesn't know what to do his term paper on. Kara Walker. She's an installation artist. So as Lisa starts to talk about the different mediums that she uses to make a statement on power, race, and gender relations, we see a guy watching from his car. And at first I was wondering if that was Rashad's people because of what we saw at the end of last episode. But so Lisa says, you know, she's a Cali girl too, and was her mom's favorite artist. This is when Will finds out that Lisa's mom passed away 3 years ago from lupus. He apologizes, and she tells him that she usually only discusses her with those who knew her and how amazing she was. So they have a little more conversation, and Will asks if she's coming to Uncle Phil's fundraiser. She'll be there, and baby girl says she glides on them skates like in the movie ATL. So Aunt Viv is giving Ashley some fresh cornrows, and she tells her that when her mom used to braid her hair, they used to sit and talk, but not Miss Ashley. No, she is busy texting someone. She plans on sneaking off tomorrow. Says the folks won't even notice. Kids today, I tell you. So they talk about how Ashley is going to wear her hair and how hard the campaign has been on all of them. And Aunt Viv says she loves Uncle Phil, and he was there for her with her art gallery openings and art shows. Now it's his turn, and they need to all be there for him. So Trey calls Will, and he tells him Rashad knows he's in Bel-Air, and Will is stressed, okay? Trey says he wants them both in the ground, and they need to dead it before it's too late. So when he gets off the phone, Will goes to talk to Uncle Phil, but he's not around. Jeffrey tells him he's at a meeting and asks if he needs something. Will asks him if he knows why he's there from Philly. Oh, Jeffrey knows. Rashad Denton, right? Will says he's not trying to squash the beef. He sent a shooter for Trey, and now he knows he's in Bel-Air. Jeffrey tells him not to trouble himself. He'll handle the situation. And Will is looking confused, like, what Jeffrey gonna do? So Jeffrey assures him that he'll handle it. No need to trouble your aunt and uncle. He'll take it from there. Oh, and he's gonna handle it. And I wanted some backstory on Jeffrey, and I think we're going to get some in this next episode. So I'm trying to wait to watch the YouTube clips until I get this review up. Hillary, she's interviewing with some influencer houses via Zoom, I'm assuming, and it seemed like it was going well. But her face, baby, when she closed that MacBook, she looked something defeated. So looks like some of her words struck a chord with Aunt Viv. She's busy trying to get some of her art supplies together when her friend Joan comes in. And, you know, they're talking, and she said, why should his goals crowd mine out? Referring to Uncle Phil. Sis is reclaiming her time. Joan tells her she's talented and the timing is perfect. A guy named Reed Broderick is back in LA setting up an annex for his gallery. He's making a name for himself by rediscovering artists. Joan asks, should she set up a meeting? We don't get to hear Vivian's answer. So Will is sitting at the piano, just stressed. He plays a little, and Hillary comes in, and she's like, not bad, cuzzo. Turns out he used to take some lessons from an old lady at the church, but they couldn't afford a piano, so his mom drew the piano keys on some cardboard. Hillary says she took 10 years of lessons and he still sounds better. So he asked her if everything's okay because he could see it all in her face. And she says she's been interviewing at content creator houses and she feels like no one sees the potential in what she does. And he's like, nah, squash all of that. He tells her to keep searching for people who are going to champion her like she deserves. And she's like, it's not that easy. So she talks about her parents' expectations and wanting to move out. And she's bummed that she can't afford to live how she wants. And Will's giving her like a little boo-hoo, like, oh, you're broke? Oh, I know how that feels. I was born that way. But he was doing it in a nice way, you know, as nice as he could be considering the circumstances. So they wrap their conversation up and she asks if he's ready to hit the streets and help Uncle Phil with the campaign. He says he's going to follow Carlton's lead. And Hillary says, you know, at least he's getting something out of it. Say what now? So she tells him he made a deal to get voters and play nice. Then he gets to go to Grand Prix. Will gets it now. Hillary tells him Carlton knows how to work the system. You better figure it out. So Will gets to it right away. He goes to help Aunt Viv with some of those boxes and he starts his smooth talking and asks if Trey can come out. Will strikes his deal. If he and Carlton can work together, no beef, maybe Trey could come out by the end of the week. Aunt Viv says it sounds fair and they have a deal. So Uncle Phil, he meets with the family to discuss the day and what everybody's going to be doing. He reminds them that even when they're not talking to voters, that they'll still be sending a message. So Aunt Viv says this is a good time for the voters to see them in the flesh and get to interact with them. Just be yourselves, but also be respectful and thoughtful. So Carlton and Will, they're going to hit the streets and knock on doors to register voters. Hillary and Ashley, they're going to go to local business owners and ask if they can put the campaign signs or stickers in the windows. And Aunt Viv and Uncle Phil will meet with community leaders in Reverend Lamont's office. So Aunt Viv, she makes a joke. If they're lucky, no one will show up. Uncle Phil didn't like that so much. So when everybody leaves, he asks for a word after they're gone. And she's like, I was just kidding. And he says he gets it, but not everyone else will. So he reluctantly brings up the polling data. And Aunt Viv, she says she is over the polling data at this point. So he says it's mostly positive. Voters see you as intellectual, accomplished, and creative. But she can also come across as sarcastic, dismissive, and arrogant. Not his words. Oh, but sarcasm is life, y'all. Oh. And that's why I couldn't be in the public eye, especially in the political arena. So Aunt Viv, she's like, well, maybe I just won't go. And he's like, no, he needs her by his side. He knows the strong woman he's got, and that's what he loves about her. But for now, maybe she doesn't have to say everything she's thinking out loud. And Aunt Viv looks like, well, I'll be. And then he reminds her that when he went to her first art show in LA, she said it was her world and not to pull focus. I said that? Yeah, you did. And he says he obliged and he took the back seat and let her shine. Ain't nothing like when they use your own words against you. So she agrees to hold her tongue until the election. But once every vote is counted, she makes no promises. He knows. And again, that's why he loves her. And they make such a nice looking couple, y'all. I have to tell you, this actor and actress. So Carlton and Will, they're knocking on doors and Will's letting Carlton take the lead. And homie is getting door after door slammed in his face. Carlton is frustrated and Will tells him, the people are telling him how much they don't trust the system and he just doesn't want to hear it. Apathy isn't a solution, Carlton says. They go back and forth for a little and Carlton says, well, you tell me how to get through to the people. First, stop calling them these people. He doesn't think that Carlton can reach the people and he reveals that he knows his intention. Carlton points out that he's not the only one trying to gain something from this. Carlton lets Will run lead. Hillary and Ashley, they visit Jazz at his record shop. Ashley asks to put her dad's poster in the window. He's cool. So as she does this, he introduces himself to Hillary, and in conversation, she finds out that he owns the place and that he ain't afraid of hard work. He does it for the love of it, and he likes the way the music sounds coming off the vinyls. So Ashley's like, I'm gonna go to the next door, but we know she's gonna go skip off with her little raggedy friends. So Hillary asks him, what about his social media presence? He says, non-existent. She says she can fix that. And he's like, yeah, he ain't got an Instagram. Give me your phone. So after one of the campaign meetings, there's a wife and a husband couple, and the wife recognizes Vivian, but she can't put her finger on quite where. And Uncle Phil says she used to be an artist. Used to be. I knew that was going to come back to be a problem later. Yes, you painted that beautiful mural on the side of Jerome Brady Elementary. She was a teacher there. Indeed, she did. Shame the school had to close, the husband says. Mural's gone too. So they wrap it up, and Uncle Phil thanks them for coming. Why did you say I used to be a painter? There it is. He meant she's just not currently painting at a professional level. You're an ex-artist. Child, her face says it all. Artists don't cease being artists, even if it's been years. So he apologizes, and she says that he's playing it safe. He needs to say things to address what Black voters really need to hear. And that, because if he doesn't, he ain't gonna have to worry about the police union. She knows what he stands for, but they don't. She tells him to speak from his heart. So Ashley takes her little butt to meet some kids that she met online to sit and play games on their phones. Kids. She asks if some other girl is there, and I think she might have been the only girl there, which doesn't make, such a quite safe place to be. But I did see a parent later on in the episode. But these kids these days really, really have no qualms about meeting up with folks that they done met online. And as a parent, that shit is scary as hell. Hillary has set up an Instagram page for Jazz's shop, Charlie's Vinyl, and he's doing a live on Hillary's account. He had a thing for Hillary on the OG Fresh Prince, didn't he? I think he did. So she tells him that she likes the way that he catalogs the music, and his first post and follow are on her. He tells her she's pretty good at this social media stuff. Not good enough, apparently. What do you mean? So she says, she's trying to move out and make her own way, but the world ain't really cooperating. So he reveals that his uncle opened the shop, so he's trying to keep the legacy alive. Good days and bad days. He's doing what he loves, and he's still standing, and she will find her way too. So they talk a little bit, but she's gotta go. So Jeffrey pulls up side by side to another car and tells them that they don't need to increase security measures for the family, but do reach out to your associates in Philadelphia. Rashad is making noise even after they gave him 10 grand to shut it down. He discovered how wealthy their employer is, and he wants more. Dude asks how much more, and Jeffrey says he didn't bother to ask because they have no intention to pay him. What I said at the beginning, Jeffrey is not to be played with. The two of them, they part ways. So Will says he's on fire, but Carlton isn't happy with his methods. He slanders the opponent and is equating Blue Lives Matters with racism. He doesn't always agree, but you can't call all conservatives racist. Will says, it's working, so why you bitching? Carlton says, you trample every rule if you don't like it, and somehow you always end up the winner. Now, Carlton, sir, you are not innocent either, so stop, okay? So Will says every hood is the same, and that's why he can walk around and get all the signatures, and Carlton has nothing. Carlton says he may have everyone else fooled, but not him. So he brings up the Trey situation and why he's really there. But he only gets an FU from Will, and he's out. So Jeffrey, he rolls up on Ashley. That's why I said there was a parent there, because when Jeffrey came in, whether it was a housekeeper or whoever it was, there was somebody else, an adult there. He rolls up and he gets Ashley. Hillary gave him a call when she gave her the slip. He tells her that her dad would not keep him on the payroll if he allowed himself to be outsmarted by a 12-year-old. So she asked if he's going to tell her parents, and he's like, it was no security risk, so we'll keep it between the two of us, but no more sneaking around. And she says her parents will never let her go to South LA to meet with some friends. You know, she met gaming online. That's the gaming on that she met gaming online. That's the real problem. But anyway, he seems to think that they'd be happy that she was getting out of her Bel-Air bubble. He tells her, you know, be mindful because people will use her to hurt her parents. So he gives her something to wipe them lips off because, you know, she had a crush on her little boy. So she had a little on her lips there. So Will, he pops into Jazz's record shop and he needs to take a break from Carlton. Some guy named Buddy, and I'm guessing he's a rapper when he comes in from the conversation. And y'all let me know in the comments because your girl is old and I didn't recognize him. So I have no idea. So Will is excited and Buddy's like, he's going to the studio with Pharrell and he needs some new sounds. Jazz has got him. So he asked for a pic for the gram and they're like, when you get an Instagram? Oh, Hillary got me trying something new. She's like, okay, come on. He tells Will to come on and get in the picture. We smiling or mobbing? They mobbing. So as Buddy leaves and, Will and Jazz are talking, he points out, oh, so you bail on Carlton and Trey shit out of luck? And Will's like, oh, he gets it. So he goes back to join Carlton and he asked him, if he registered anybody else. And he's like, yeah, but I think the guy gave me a fake name. Nino Brown? Oh, Carlton. Will says, remind me to show you New Jack City. And man, I have to get my oldest son up on the classics. Like, he's really good at watching some classic TV. Like, he does watch The Fresh Prince. Like I said, this is his shirt. He'll watch Martin. He'll watch A Different World. And I love that, because he's 19. But I just got to get him up on, some of the movies. Like, he's never seen New Jack City. He probably never seen Love Jones, Anyway, I digress. Anywho. So Will tells him, give him some forms and they'll work opposite sides of the street so they can get the remaining 12 that they need. His priority is flying Trey out. So Carlton tells him he's a good friend and he wants to apologize. And Will tells him they keep talking like they're going to change each other's minds, and they're not. We just got to say less, and say less they do. So they hit, opposite sides of the street to get it done. So Will, he's really in tune with the people. You see him sitting with the people, talking, doing all kinds of stuff, mowing the man's lawn. When he meets up with Carlton, he tells him he invited everyone he could to the skating rink that night. Carlton's like, it's supposed to be a private fundraiser. Will says a lot more people will register there. And he told him that Uncle Phil would pay for food and admission. So Carlton's like, we've been working on this for weeks. And Will ask him to have his back. And he says, it's a better opportunity for the campaign, blah, blah, blah. And Carlton's like, I'm not the one you have to convince. So back at the Banks estate, Uncle Phil is not happy. He says he's going to have to return money to the donors who pay for exclusive access. And he can't vet people that he's invited. He can't vet the people that Will's invited. So it's like he's being thrown into the lion's den. And Aunt Viv is like, maybe that's what you need. You need to be out there mixing it up with people who can't afford $500 tickets. So Carlton, he even jumps in and, backs him up. It's like, yeah, Dad, you're playing it safe. Will says, listen, we can invite all our friends, make it fun. And finally, reluctantly, Uncle Phil agrees. So everyone has showed up at the skating rink. They done showed up and showed out because they're there to support Uncle Phil. And Aunt Viv sees Lisa and gives her a big hug. And she says, listen, I know things have been awkward for a while with the breakup between she and Carlton, but, they should have a girls' night. Her, Hillary, Ashley, and Lisa says she'd love that. Aunt Viv also wants to talk about the plans for the lupus fundraiser. And she tells her the Soras have came through. And she's like, Mama loved her sisters. So Ashley, she's looking all bored. And Jeffrey comes over. Being a kid is tough. Wait till you become adult. A whole nother story for a whole nother day. And Jeffrey told no lies, y'all. Your girl, she gets tired of adulting. I'd be tired of adulting. Once a week, just hard. He's invited her new friends to hang out with her, and Ashley is in seventh heaven. Are they trying to make Ashley into girls, or was she just happy to finally meet the girl that showed up that she didn't get to meet? We shall see. So Will is in the bathroom when someone in uniform comes out the stall. Phil's nephew. Will, right? Will says, yeah, you're Lisa's dad. Damn. Will looks shook. She didn't tell me you were a cop. Los Angeles chief of police. So Will washes his hands and he looks over at his badge and he starts to have a little PTSD. And he admits that he didn't know, that he He didn't know he was on the police force, and it kind of throws him. And, he walks out saying, you're not in any trouble. So then he goes and he confronts Lisa, and she's like, she doesn't understand why it matters. She wasn't hiding anything. And I mean, in her defense, she doesn't even know why he's really there. So why would she have a reason to, bring it up or keep it from him either way? So she's like, it's not like I know what your dad does for a living. And he says he can't answer that because he hasn't seen the sorry ass N-word since he walked out. Oh, Will. So she apologizes. She says she didn't know. He's like, it's fine. It's not worth talking about. Have fun. And then he skates off. Now, I don't know why Lisa needs a scholarship to go to Bel-Air. Her mom was in a prestigious sorority, probably one of the Divine Nine, and her father is the chief of police. So clearly she's not struggling. But back to the show. So Carlton, he steps up and he introduces his dad, and Uncle Phil says he's not there to bore them with his speeches and promises. He wants to hear from them. One lady brings up gang enhancement laws. He says he plans to prohibit the prosecutors from pursuing sentencing enhancements for non-violent first offenses. So someone asks about defunding the crooked LAPD, and he looks at Lisa's dad, and he looks at Aunt Viv, gives him that nod like, go, it's now or never. Go ahead, talk that talk. Defunding the police is critical. The justice system is failing, and they need to make changes all around. He's prepared to fight for a new approach. So Aunt Viv, she's all smiles and he winks, and it's, it was a nice little wrap up. At home, everybody says they had a good time. Things are good. Things are great. We should do that again. Jeffrey and Uncle Phil, they go to talk, and I wonder what that conversation was. So Will tells Carlton, admit it, he's right. And Carlton's like, listen, I had your back, okay? He says, let's keep it like this and quit trying to trip each other up. Oh, Carlton, I hope that you stand by your word. The next time you're feeling jealous, I hope you remember what you said. So Will says he can get with that, and they zap it up. Hillary's excited. She's moving out. She got accepted into an influencer house. She's going to live with other social media content creators. And Aunt Viv seems hesitant, and she wants to know, what are the strings attached to this arrangement? None. It's free. Hillary, nothing is free. So Hillary gets upset, and she's like, would it kill you to say congratulations for once? And she gets up and walks out. You don't have to say everything out loud, Viv. Ain't that the mama struggle? So she goes and she tells Will how proud she is of him and Carlton and of them working together, and that they're gonna fly Trey out to Bel-Air that Friday. Will is super excited. He thanks her and they hug. And listen. I pray that my fellow YouTubers are wrong and that they don't make Aunt Viv his real mom, because when I tell you I'm sick of that storyline, So let Aunt Viv just be Aunt Viv. Don't change that, Bel-Air. So Will, he goes to FaceTime Trey and tell him the good news. And Trey is hyped, and he said he's got some good news too. Rashad is dead. Will is in disbelief. So Trey tells him he got rolled up on at the strip club. Will asks who, and he's like, who cares? Rashad in the grave puts them in the clear. So Will, his wheels are turning, and you can see it all over his face. Trey says they got to celebrate when he flies out. And Will's like, yeah, we definitely going to celebrate. But he sounds quite unenthusiastic, and that is where we end. Okay, guys. So what did our good guy Jeffrey do? Even Will knows he's up to something. Jeffrey is that guy, and we're going to find out more on Thursday. What are your thoughts on the episode? Please drop them in the comments below. This show is so dope to me. I hope you'll come back and join me for my review of episode 5. And if you've made it this far, put a shock face emoji down in the comments, because this show, baby. While you're here, please check out some of my other content. Thank you. And before you go, like, subscribe, and share. I appreciate y'all. Peace.